Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. On the last video I made the bobbins for the reels, and now the next piece to be made will be the tension knob, which will go on this side here. And the first step to make those knobs will be to machine two of these pieces to the same thickness. One of those pieces is already clamped in my vise, and let's see how this works. And now I'll drill and tap for the 6mm screw, and also cut this pocket here where this 6mm nut will fit in, and also this way I can use this socket wrench to tighten it. Now I'll use this tool to cut the pocket. And now I'll finish it using this tap wrench. Now this piece here will be used to hold the piece in the shock. And now to machine these to the final sizes, I made this tool that I'll use to hold it on the machine, like this. And now I can start turning. Okay, that's good. So now I'm gonna turn the outside to 30mm in diameter. I have to flip this tool around so I can cut the outside diameter, like so. Okay, let's measure this. It should be a little bit oversized. So I'm at 30.9. So one more cut and it will be done. Okay, that should do it. Let's see. Oh yeah, 30mm. And now I'll cut this bottom side to get the thickness to 16.5mm. Okay, let's measure this. Well, it should be 16.5. It's a little bit undersized, but it's okay. And now I'll cut a small step about 3mm from this face up, and the diameter to 28mm. I set the tool at 45 degrees to cut this big chamfer, which is this area here on the top. And now on this side, I'll cut another round pocket. It's 16.2mm in diameter and close to 4mm deep. And the cutting tool will be the same that I used to cut this pocket here. Okay, end up a little bit bigger, but it's okay like that, because that pocket is just clearance for this piece to fit in. So this should go in. Yeah. So it's good. I'm going to do the same on the other one now. We're moving along here, and the next step will be to make 4 of these half-round cuts, and they're spaced equally all the way around. Okay, let's see how this looks. I have to do a little bit of trimming to remove these lips and a few burrs, and for that I'll use this knife. Okay, and now I have to drill 4 holes on this side here, and these holes are for these pins. I'll use this 4mm drill to drill the holes on this side here, and the depth is 12mm deep. So for that I have to set the machine in a way that it won't go any deeper, and the first thing I'll do is to touch the drill on this face, then lock the machine quill so it won't move up, and now with the vernier set at 12mm I have to place it here and move these nuts down until it touches like that. And now I have to tighten it so it won't move out of position. Okay, so now I know that this is the distance that I need to drill. And I take this opportunity to show an improvement that I did on this machine. I made this piece to replace this one here, which is made from a very soft plastic, and that caused a lot of problems. It was almost impossible to drill or cut something at a specific level because this kept flexing so much. And I did these knobs using this piece for the first time, and what an improvement. Now once the machine hits the stop, it stays there, it won't go any deeper. So now I just have to turn the machine on and drill these knobs. Okay, very good. And now with the tension knobs completed, I'm going to make a piece that will go in here, and that piece serves to transfer the movement of the handle to the bobbin. But before I do that, I want to show you how the tension knob looks once it's mounted on the reel. And here it is, and it will go like this. Not too bad. And these holes, now it's possible to see that they match these indentations on the frame, and once they have the springs and the pins mounted on it, they will put some pressure on the knob and preventing it from turning out of the set position. But for now I have to carry on with this project and start machining this piece. Now I'll take this one out and do the same on this one here. Now I'm gonna machine this diameter to 10 millimeters. This is the last cut, and I'm moving very slow to try to make the best finish that it's possible on this machine. Okay, so let's see if it fits now. Oh yes, very good. And on this one here, perfect. Okay, very good. Now the next step will be to cut this diameter to 17 millimeters. Okay, very good. The next step will be to cut two small grooves for these O-rings that this piece will have. And to cut those grooves, I'll use this cutting tool. And I'm going to show you now a very simple, easy way to make these tools. I'm grinding this pin to make another cutting tool, like I did these ones here that you've seen me using before. But this time, this cutting tool will be to cut the grooves for these O-rings. The O-rings are 1.6 millimeters in diameter, and I'll try to make this about 1.8 thickness to have a little bit of clearance for the O-ring. Okay, that's good like this. Now the next step will be to heat this red hot and then quench it in cold water. The location of these grooves are, one is at 12 millimeters from the middle of the groove to this face, and the second one is at 20 millimeters. And this distance from this face here to this one here is 23 millimeters. And now I'm going to move the cutter very slow until it touches it, and then I'm going to cut 1.2 millimeters deep. Okay. It's getting closer. I'm going to cut a little bit more. Oh yes. Okay. So I'll do the same now, a little bit down here. I changed a little bit this cutting tool that I use to cut the O-ring grooves by grinding a little bit more here on the back. And this way I increase the depth of cut that I can make with it, because I'm going to use it to cut off this piece from the shank. I'm going to make a little radius on this edge here before I cut off the piece completely. Okay, here it is. From these pieces of stainless steel, I'm going to make the handles for the reels. And the first step is to machine this to 12 millimeters wide. And once I do that, I can glue the 10 plates on it and do the rest of the work. With a little bit of glue, I stick these 10 plates on these stainless steel pieces. And then, once this is glued on, the first thing I'll do, I'll center punch these holes before I cut the final profile. And now I'll drill this hole here first with a 4 millimeter drill. And once I have these handles finished, I go back and do a little bit more work on this piece. I have to mill a slot here for the handle to fit in. This hole here, I'm going to tap it for the 4 millimeter screw. And now I'll use the hacksaw to cut a little bit on the outside of the line. And then I'll use some files and a little bit of sanding to get the final shape done. And now to file down this extra material to get the final shape, I'll use this jigsaw, but instead of using the normal cutting blade, I cut off a piece from this small file and I mounted on it, and now this works as a filing machine. It works great and it's a lot faster too. Okay, I'm looking at this and the profile, it's pretty much done, but there's a couple of spots that I have to file a little bit more, but this time with the needle file. These radius here, they're not that good, and I also have to break these edges on the outside. But aside from that, I think this is pretty much done. A little bit of polishing and the handles will be done. And here it is. And it's always amazing what is possible to do with a piece of raw material, and by spending a little bit of time and essentially lots of elbow grease, and then end up with a piece that will be functional, and it doesn't look too bad either. And the last thing to do on these pieces is to cut the slot for the handles to fit in, like this one here. Okay, this should be very close. Let's see if it fits. Still a little bit too small. I'm gonna cut it a little bit more. I'm gonna try this one more time, but I think this is it. Oh yeah, it goes in very good. So now the next thing to do will be to make the knob that goes on this side. I have the machine ready to start cutting 3 small grooves on this face. And to cut the first groove, which will go down here, I move the machine quill until it hits this top. Then to cut the second groove, I place this piece over here. That sets the location for it. And once that one is done, I keep moving the quill until it hits this top here on the top. And this way I can cut those grooves on the same location on this second piece. Oh yeah, much better. No more chatter marks. Time to cut the knob from the shank. Oh yes. Yes, yes, yes. A little bit of cleaning this burr and it's done. Okay, just a very quick update on this Speargun line reel project. And so far I got the frame done, the bobbin, the tension knob, which for now I'm using this little piece of paper to hold it in place. And this way it's possible to see how everything looks together. On this side here I got the handle, this smaller piece here that connects the handle to the bobbin. And now I have to make a screw to hold the handle knob in place. This is the drawing, and I stole this idea by looking at this handle. It uses a shoulder bolt, which allows the knob to spin freely, and I like that idea very much. I'll be using a couple of these big screws to make those shoulder bolts, and the first step will be to turn this head to fit the countersink. Then I have to cut the shoulder and thread this smaller diameter so it can be bolted onto the handle. So for now I'm gonna set up the machine and then I'll show you how I make a shoulder bolt. And like I said before, I'll start by turning the screw head so it fits inside this countersink. And also I have to do a little bit of machining down here because this diameter, it's a little bit too big and it won't fit inside this hole. Cutting a small chamfer on these edges just because it doesn't take any time to do it and it always makes the part look much better. Okay, so for now I'm done with this one here, and the next step will be to cut this off using a hacksaw and then thread it. Okay, here's the shoulder bolt ready to be threaded, but before I do that I want to show you something because I think it looks pretty good. Here's the knob, and now with the shoulder bolt inside, And on this side here, I still have to make a slot for the screwdriver. And now to cut the threads, I first had to make this little square so I can clamp the shoulder bolt in the vise. Like that. And now I'll put a little bit of cutting fluid. Okay. I'll use this die to cut the threads. This piece here is to keep the die straight and also put a little bit of pressure on the beginning so it starts to form the threads. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but down here there's a little bit that the thread wasn't formed. So now, and that is because these cutting dies have like chamfer down here, so it won't cut right at the bottom. But if I flip the tool around on this side here, I may be able to cut a little bit deeper. Well, let's see if this threads inside this little hole here. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Okay, and now I'll cut the slot for the screwdriver, and for that I'm using a cutting disc from a Dremel tool. And another great thing here is that this vise has a V-slot on it, and this way it's very easy to clamp something that is round like a pin or a screw. So now let's turn the machine on and see how this goes. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah. One of my concerns was if the slot would be in the middle, but it looks pretty good. So let's put this inside the knob. Oh yes, much better. Much better. I'll use the same cutting disc to cut off these threads about 1 millimeter or so above the handle. And because I don't want to damage it, I'm going to remove it. Okay, let's see if this threads now. Let him take this out. Oh yeah. And here it is once again, the start of our show, but this time with one more component added to it. And it's amazing how such a simple little thing makes such a big difference. Overall, very pleased with how everything is coming along. But the show must go on, so now it's time to make another piece, which will go here. It's a cup to cover up this area, which is this guy here. But before I get into that, I noticed that there's something missing on this handle. And you probably guessed it by now too, which is the jewels. And for that, I'm going to remove quickly this handle. And the knob. And I have pretty much the setup ready to go here. I just have to put this piece beside this one, like that. This white stuff is just double side tape to hold the pieces in place. And this brown tip, that's what makes the jewels. It's an abrasive rod. This here, it's just a plastic tube to hold the rod. So now, time to make the jewels. I'm holding it for about 3 seconds and then move a little bit over half of the diameter of the rod and press down for another 3 seconds. Move again and drop it for 3 seconds and carry on. I'm gonna have to hold this with my finger here because the pieces got a little bit hot and that melted the glue, and as you probably noticed, the pieces started to move a little bit. Okay. Not too chubby. Wow. This area here, nobody's gonna see it, but we'll know that it's there. Let's put the knob back. Okay, here it is. Oh, it's almost camouflage. You can't even see the handle. Watch out, fishy. Here we come. Oh man, very good, very good, very good. Originally I had designed an opening here, but I thought about it and that would make this area very weak because I don't want this to bend. Next time, if there will be a next time, if I ever make another one, I will make this with a thicker material. This is 2 millimeters, but it should be probably 2.5 or something. Then it would be possible to make a little triangle or like drill a couple holes like I did on these areas here. But for now, that's how it's gonna be. Okay, time to move on and do the little cup. I'm gonna call it the real helmet. I know that some of you guys wish that this video would last a little bit longer so you could see a couple more pieces being made, but that will have to be for the next video. But stay tuned because the next video will be the one that I'm gonna put all the pieces together and finish the line reel, and one of those pieces is this one here, which is the shaft that goes inside the spool. And in my opinion anyway, this is the coolest piece that I ever made using my improvised milling / lathe machine. But until then, I wish that you liked this one here, and if you did, don't forget to give a big thumbs up and share this video. Share this video with everybody that you know, and share this video with everybody that you don't know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I invite you to visit, and if you like it what you see in there, subscribe to it, and this way Google will send you a message notifying you when I posted a new video. And also will be a great motivation for me to keep making these videos for you. So for now, I gotta say thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time on Master My Videos for You. Bye bye!